Hey everyone, my name's Adam, and the folks over at Martech asked me to do more of a how-to in terms of using ChatGPT or any GPT, but we'll use that as a baseline for product messaging. And then by doing it with product messaging, it lets you begin to automate content for everything else, including onboarding, in-app help, and tutorials. And so what we're going to do in this short video, and let me set a timer here so that I stay on track. There we go. What we're going to do in this video is walk through all that. And it's important that we start with the big picture and that we use examples. All right. So again, these are the two things we're going to cover. I want to talk about my book for a minute because this is a key. If you're going to automate any type of product related information, you've got to build a micro or a nano language model. All right. The proof is in the pudding, it's in the market. Very, very current research I've been digging into on the cutting edge, literally keeping up with what the top researchers are doing. You see this movement towards smaller language models. And when you get some really pristine good content and what I would call a nano language model, the output is exceptional. And without it, you're wandering around wasting time. So my book is code. All right. It acts as software. It's on purpose that I'm using it as a piece of software. All right. It's on my website as a piece of software. GPT as a service. All right. But it could be your code, your company. And so as you build this nano language model, which I'm going to show you how to do strategically, what you'll see is that I can begin to use what I've already built. I'm going to show you how to build it, and then I'm going to begin to use it to show what it can do. All right. So there's two things I'm going to go back and forth. Is one, I'm going to use my bot to show you how inputs to the bot are created. All right. And then I'm going to show you outputs. All right. And what we're mainly going to focus on is chapter 6 of my book. All right. This is a key diagram. So why do you want to learn how to do what I'm going to explain to you? Because of this. All right. This is what's happening. I've done this. I've automated myself. I can automate a lot of people. It's scary and there's no stopping it. But a way you can tell as to how far along you are in your career with generative AI is which one of these things are you doing? Because if you're only automating yourself, you can create tremendous value, right? But when you start to automate a larger organization, then it becomes crazy. And so again, with this big picture, I think a lot of people jump right into these demos. Just show me the 30-second clip. Give me the 2 minutes. I get it. I'm out. No, because if you want to learn a bunch of prompts, go do it. If you want to learn strategically a prompt that can, or a prompting technique and a mindset that can explain to executives how important this is, okay, we're going to take a minute on it. And so people usually get this intuitively when I talk to them, but they go quick, oh, yeah, I get that. And I'm like, nope, pause. All right. So what did a human do on the left? What was their day to day, right? They threaded screws and they put them in a bucket. Another guy or girl, well, probably usually a guy, picked up the screw and put it in. That's graphic design today. You know, you open up a Photoshop file, you put some screws in it, right? And you hand it off for quality assurance. Same thing is with any white collar worker. You're putting pieces together, right? Now, if you were on that floor, on the left, there's tons of people. On the right, you got some person in the back who's basically a robot operator, an AI robot operator, and they're just saying, hey, put this new screw, everyone, and they all do it. Boom. Right? So you can imagine if you've created graphic design for a whole campaign, you now have the ability to just say, okay, update all the graphics to this slightly different color, and boom, it's done, right? This is same with blog articles, same with BDRs. It's everywhere. All right, and this is the white collar evolution it's going to cause. If you want to go check out more, you can go check out my book. So let's get into product messaging strategy. All right, we're about 5 minutes in, and so I'm going to talk to you about this in terms of product-led growth, but I want to explain something really important. And again, as you're prompting, I'm not just going to tell you, oh, here's how you do it. Okay, I'm going to tell you why. Why do you need to think about this, and why do you need prompts? And then how are those higher order, more strategic use cases going to fit in, right? So in today's software world, most companies, before the 2010s, everybody was without PLG. Well, there were some earlier ones, but the 99%. And now there's a huge group, and these have been very successful with PLG. And you can see it's just more organized and orchestrated because these teams have to work together very technically. All right. And that's the biggest opportunity for generative AI. So if you're in this stuff on the left, you're going to have a larger hill to climb, and it's going to be more difficult. Okay. And what we're doing, and this was generated by generative AI. Well, not my little stuff on the right, but what we're doing is we're going to build the foundation of the house, right? So we've got to see the top level view and what the floors look like and stuff like that. And so this sweet spot that I've been talking about, generative AI, when this is aligned, we've got to figure out how to build this small nano language model, right? And this could represent, this is where agentic or agent-based frameworks that do more complex things. You could have a bunch of these, each with a certain task, but for the purposes of this demo, we want some amount of sales, product, marketing information to show up with proper messaging, and then be able to show up in the app, right? So we're building this tiny language model or nano language model. And that's also the sweet spot of the show and some other things, right? And just to whiteboard it for a second, we've got this nano language model that we're going to put info into, and then we're going to be able to get info out of it. All right. And I'm going to show you my book. There's the book, and show as if it was software, so that you can use your software, all right, which includes documentation and all these other things, to build your own one of these, right, and get info in and out of it. All right, so to keep going, this is where content came from, right? And you're wondering again, why is this, so strategically important, Adam? Why are you taking the time? Just get to the demo. But this is all the content we've had. And now it's our job to organize it and turn it into a bot, right? And so the first way to start thinking about this at scale is put the different types of interactions and content in a structure like this, where you can see what's being dealt with by product, what's being dealt with by humans, and what's being dealt with through media or content. All right, because that'll help you understand wherever there's baseline content that applies to all of this, which is what strategic messaging is about. You have to keep that in mind. How are your prompts going to output for a number of these different things, not just one thing at a time? All right, so if we keep going, and we'll get to the demo here. So what I'm going to show you is I've taken buyer user personas, market analysis, all this stuff as if I'm a software company with my book, and I've loaded it into the Gen AI model that I'm going to show you, all right, to get different output. All right, and then we'll get on with it and get into some examples. And so just for a little preview of what we've got, this is talking about automating with AI. Here's one other view I'll show you real quick. So high-level strategic messaging, right? How do you build a small language model or a tiny language model that can understand and learn this stuff at the top, so that you can make a very high-quality bot and then output this stuff at the bottom? All right, so I'm going to show you how to do that right now, and we're going to start with the inputs. So I'm on ChatGPT 4.0 at Canvas. Why use Canvas? Because it's got this great feature called Canvas. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to invite my bot in, and I'm going to explain how I built it and how you can build a similar thing so that when you get downstream prompting like I have, you can run like a nice high-end, super powerful 15-page prompt, and it'll just make your head explode. But for right now, let's just say, okay, so what are the things Adam says about chapter 6 in terms of messaging and product strategy? What are all the inputs needed to build a small language model? Model. Okay. So again, I'm using this for two purposes. One, to show you how I got input into it, so you understand how it was built, and then how you get input out of it. So of course it knows my resume, and there's some other stuff. So when you build a model, you're going to build all these documents. But I just want the simple list. I just want the simple list of messaging categories, stuff like story and value prop. Do you know what I am talking about? Please list all of those elements in a simple way. All right, so I'm talking to this thing like it's a human, right? And an important aspect of prompting is it doesn't always give you the right answer. Sometimes you have to go back and ask it to think again. All right, but this is the list. So this is I taught it this, right? Yeah, this is the list. It added a couple of things, so that's interesting. Anyway, so what I've done here is I've created a bot, a book and a show and some other stuff that understands messaging, right? And so I'm saying, tell me about messaging, and I'm going to show you what, given that I've loaded all this stuff, I can now ask the book about this stuff. I can ask the bot. It's me, basically. So give me a simple example of how you used Adam's inputs and knowledge base to cover the information needed in telling a story about Adam's book, show, and software. Okay. Here we go. All right. So here's the story. All right. Now, if you have your software in there, it'll give you a story. Can I adjust the story? Yes. All right. So tell me a short version of items 2, 3, 4, and 5. So again, I've loaded my language model in. All right. And it's giving me pretty good output. Now, this is just the beginning. I can ask it all of this stuff. So to give you an example, one of the things we always talk about is with ideal customer personas, or it's always, I love how we keep coming up with new names. It's your target, your target customer. Who's your target customer? But I can ask all these things now that I've built the bot, and I'll give you an example of personas. So one of the things I loaded is information about the personas. So who are the target personas for Adam's, let's just call it for GSAM bot, and give me a 2-sentence description of the C levels. All right, let's see if it gets it right. Yeah, all right. So I told it, at some point through my approach, here's your target personas, man. I had to explain to it what these target personas care about, right? Focus on driving overall business growth and staying ahead of the market, brand strategy, etc., etc. So we've basically taken information from the internet, from the matrix, we've put it in here, okay, and we're now able to add very sophisticated prompts that can do all kinds of things. All right, so instead of knowing about, software has features and capabilities. So let's do this. Since this is a piece of software that is a chat bot, I could be saying like, I could take, let's do this. I could take a picture of this, print screen, go there, and I can say, there we go. Tell me what this UI is made for. All right. So you can take screenshots of your UIs if you have like a traditional old school OLTP product, and you can begin with accessibility in particular to actually, have a library of these, and the system can know, right? You always need human in the middle until your system's cranking out without error. But so I can ask the thing about my target audience, which I've programmed in there. And I could also program in there information about the UI. Of course, I can use documentation, right? So in this case, what I've got is the book representing, GPT software. It represents documentation. The book represents how-to. The book represents all this content, right? It's a knowledge base. It could have just as well been about SaaS software for CFOs or CRM or anything else. All right, we're on 15 minutes now. So I'm going to have to hustle up here and make sure we don't go past 20 minutes. In any event, so now we're starting to build this knowledge base, right? You saw I have loaded information into it about people. You saw I just loaded information about UI. It could be product documentation. It doesn't really matter. But once it's in there, and let's see, we were going to do in-app help. What are the 3 things we're going to do? I've started to show you basically how do you organize this stuff, and how do you organize this stuff, and how do you load it into this model, right? With that kind of information so that you can begin to get good things out of it. We'll skip that whiteboard. Again, what it's like to be replaced by AI is kind of crazy. I'm starting to explain, and I've pulled out. First, I had to put the right stuff in, but then I can pull it out again. All different ways. You can make an elevator pitch for, a CEO. So let's see. Show me an elevator pitch for a CEO based on the book. Why should they care at all? All right. All right. Imagine reducing your sales and marketing costs by up to 90% while simultaneously boosting productivity tenfold. All right. Give me the 1-sentence answer for the CMO, CRO, CFO, and CIO. All right. So once you have your personas loaded, this is a critical step. And almost everyone I know misses this. Everyone. And if you really dig into the best practices from Google and you go through all the stuff people hammer you with, knowing how to program a persona into your bot, in my experience of pushing this stuff for 2 years, is the number one most important thing you can do. You got to load the persona in there. All right. And then if you want in-app help, let's see, we were talking about, so I could wrap this up. We'll skip that one. That was the end. We were almost done, but there's one point I wanted to make before we go. And it has to do with, yes, these things: onboarding, in-app help, and tutorials. So let's assume, whoops, I didn't want that going. So let's assume, now that we have this intelligent micro language model, okay, we can begin to say things like this: please do the following for each of these outputs. Boom, 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 boom. All right. One, summarize what they are in 10 to 20 words. So here's what I'm doing. I'm confirming that it actually understands what onboarding, in-app help, and tutorials are. 2, in 20 words, tell me what is so different about them. And then 3, I want you to do a couple of things, but let's start with this. So I just want to make sure that it understands, and I'm at 20 minutes, so I'm going to have to maybe do this in 2 parts. All right. Oh, yeah. So here it is. So it says, look, dude, all right, it's a process that guides what's different. Okay, Gen AI personalizes it. Real-time assistance. Okay, so in-app help and tutorials. Okay, so give me an example of a piece of each type of content: onboarding, in-app help, and tutorials for website navigation link name, content landing page hero, text and suggest picture. 3, recommend the most important content I need to create for the AutumnBloom.me app Bloomereye. In each area. And then number 4, please write the content. Okay, let's see what happens. All right, so what it's starting to do is it's starting to say, hey, get started, need assistance, how-to guides. All right, not too hard. Now it's saying the content landing page hero, text and suggested picture. Start your journey with Bloomer AI today. Get personalized insights and maximize your potential effortlessly. All right, I could have asked for 10 of those. Okay, and so you can see it's doing pretty good. And now, the most important onboarding it says is, okay, you need a quick start, you need a help center, you need a series feature walkthrough videos, right? Written content. The quick start, welcome to Bloomer AI. Follow these quick steps to get yourself set up. Create your profile, explore core, so the more you give this thing, the more it'll do for you automatically. Yeah, it's, pretty crazy. Anyway, hopefully we covered all the stuff that you wanted, and this won't be too long. Anyway, reach out anytime. You can find me. You got my website and my email. I'm on LinkedIn quite a bit. And big shout out, of course, to the whole martech.org team. Thank you. Bye, everyone.